Why? Hello and welcome everybody. Also, good morning. So today I wanted to go ahead and kind of try to give you guys a summary for those of you guys who didn't watch. Highly recommend you do for at least the trailer here that we're going to see in the background. The Path of Exile 3.28 Mirage changes and more. I say and more because there's just a lot in here. Like there's a lot. So with that being said, let's get started. There's a lot more than what I have listed, but I'm trying to kind of congest this to, I'd say, some of the highlights, and I'm even going to miss some. So let's get started. Breach went core with lots of customization. For those of you guys who are unaware or didn't play last league, we had a Breach rework, we had the tree, and for people who did play, just know that it has been, the tree itself, they specifically stated, has been nerfed. Specifically, like, I don't know if it's the weighting of the items, but they definitely toned that down, and you also cannot make weapons anymore with the tree. With that being said, there is now Atlas support for the new Breach, and the reason this is important is one of the notables they teased on it is, for example, remove Hive Fortress, remove the defenses, and only have unstable breaches, which is one thing a lot of blasters wanted, and vice versa. They have different support as well, so it's not just one way. So that was kind of a nice change. Tree is still staying core, but it's its own league mechanic. Graphs have been removed as well. I don't remember the status on all of the what were they called again, the Foulborn uniques. Some of them definitely stayed, I think, but not all of them, question mark. We'll see. Harbinger has been removed. This one was kind of took me by surprise. I remember they said last league they wanted to work on the Harby quality of life. I guess they're just going to scrap the idea from the ground up. Kind of a little bit of a punch to the gut, because I've been farming Harbinger for like 32 leagues, you know, before I had gray hair, but you know, times are changing, boys. We still can play RF. Times are just changing. So we'll have to figure out a new core Atlas strat that I'll have to figure out that I like. Kirak is also gone for milk. Not sure when they're going to be back, but Kirak's also goodbye at the moment. With the Harbinger change, Fracturing Orbs and Ancient Orbs are now able to drop as part of the core drop pool. Still think they're probably going to be pretty expensive. We're going to have to see, but, you know, an extra tink on the loot filter, kind of cool. Very curious what's happening with the null prices as well, because, you know, that's like a couple chaos normally now, so let's see. I think a nulls can drop globally already, but it's really weird, right? Like, they can drop, it's just so rare already. Or maybe it's some other factor where they end up dropping, I'm not really sure. The new Mirage League, which is what we see in the background here, where each map is actually 1.3 or so maps. Now, I got this number from the Q&A. This is not like an actual number, but basically, when you're in your map, you're going to have a Mirage. And when you click the Mirage or interact with the Mirage, you're going to get to do a portion of your map again, including whatever league mechanics were there, etc., as long as that part has been revealed. So like the 1.3 is just a rough random number, because you're not actually getting to like do the whole map again like Scourge. You're getting to do part of it, but there is some stuff they said for like you can actually get a miraged map, in which case the whole thing is a mirage. So a lot of cool stuff. Personal favor here, T17 maps have been taken out back and they are gone. They have been replaced as nightmare maps for Uber fragments. Alongside this, they have removed a lot of the T17 and or 16.5 mods that were very annoying. I believe one of the ones they specifically showed was, you know, every time you do an action, you lose some speed. That's been removed. The you don't do any damage every 3 seconds out of 10, which actually gets rounded up to like 5, is also gone. So pretty happy with that. There is a brand new mapping system in regards to your favorites. Now when you drop a map, it'll drop, for example, a tier 5 map, and then you can select what tier 5 map you want. A lot of people speculate that this is for PoE 2, and a lot of people always use this in a negative term, like PoE 1 is just PoE 2's testing ground, and no one's really going to disagree with that, but I think this is a cool change. I would love to see this feature in PoE 2 so I could choose whatever maps I want, but also in PoE 1, the big issue I think a lot of the time is people play niche builds, like Righteous Fire. And these niche builds are maybe better at specific maps than others. To be fair, that's kind of the case for every build, and sometimes you really want to just blast a specific type of map. Previously, you kind of had to complete the atlas, do quite a lot of bossing, set up an atlas for map drops, juice a little bit, get your 14 favorite maps allocated, and then kind of go. You don't need to do all that, but there's definitely like a barrier to entry. I feel now it's going to be a little bit more generic, and some people may say it's more of like a casual update, but I think it's just good in my eyes. Awakened gem system is completely reworked. No more awakened gems. There's now like greater versions of gems. Basically, I think the logic was that a lot of awakened gems were the same thing as the previous gem. It was just a little bit more damage, and maybe you got something special at 5. Now, and there are some exceptions to that, like awakened spell cascade, etc. Now I think they want to make the system more unique, so I'm excited with that. They also stated that graphs from the previous league that we played in, Breach, right? A lot of graphs, since all the graphs got removed, and just to confirm, we're not talking about rune graphs, we're talking about the graphs you like attach, like, you know, they stick out your back or whatever, specifically from Breach League. A lot of those effects have been tied now onto the new Greater Gem system or Awakened Gem system or whatever it's called. Chisels have been removed. Chisels are gone. The map modifier effect, or the 20% quantity, whatever you'd be, the 20% quantity you get from chisels, is now baked into map completion. So as you complete maps, you now also get, I don't know if it's 0.25 quantity or whatever. Basically, this is no longer needed, and now that's just baked in, so awesome. New belt base from Blight. So if you guys remember a long time ago with Abyss, we got the Stygian Vice, which is now, you know, Stygian Vice for a long time, with the exception of Uniques, was like your pre-Mage Blood, right? You go from like your, you know, whatever, your leather belt to your Stygian Vice, and then you grind out, and then you pivot to the next thing. Now we have a new belt that comes from Blight, which allows you to get an Anoint. That's kind of crazy. So really excited for this. Voidstone buffs, new Atlas bonuses. We talked about this one. Voidstone buffs, they're basically baking more stuff onto Voidstones. I don't know if we're also getting a 5th Voidstone now. There's a Voidstone, and maybe I'm old and I forgot. The Dread guys, the guys that came in like a previous expansion, whatever they're called, they now also have a Voidstone, and I think that Voidstone is what triggers Nightmare map drops, kind of like old T17s. But again, I could be wrong. I don't know if everything has been typed out, but it's just kind of like what we saw. You no longer need every unique map for full completion. Now it's kind of, I think they showed out of 10, so you can complete whatever unique maps you want for your completion. I don't know how I feel about this, in a sense. I still think that you're going to want to do most unique maps if they still have the recipes attached to them. I don't know if they commented on that, like, you know, Putrid Cloister for multi-mod, or suffixes cannot be changed, or prefixes cannot be changed, and what is it, Coward's Trial or whatever. That's also pretty important for crafting, so I'm curious what happens here. This one was one that kind of caught me by surprise, that I think I really like it. I don't know yet. So shipping ores and bars in Kingsmarch will now return currency items, where shipping crops will return equipment. I like this a lot, and here's my take. I love Path of Exile, and I loved Kingsmarch. Keyword loved. I hate it now. I hate it now because you could pick 14 different league mechanics. In fact, let's just name some. Essence, Bestiary, Harvest, Incursion / Alva, Betrayal, Harbinger, wait, that one's dead, Ambush, you know, there's a number, Legion, Delirium, Ultimatum. You have so many league mechanics, and every single one of these is active. I guess for, if you really want to, you could say, you know, you could make an AFK Ultimatum farmer, but that's not the point, right? The point is you have to go out of your way to, you know, say, I want to map and I want to farm this. This is what I want to do. Whereas Kingsmarch was like, do you play the game a lot? Do you have gold? Invest it in here. Do you not play the game a lot? Go buy a gold rotation and then invest your currency. And what sucks is, I know that it's not forced, but a lot of players, when you play the game a lot, are going to want to optimize strategies, and it kind of always boils down to, like, do your Kingsmarch early. So I'm really happy to kind of see this kind of shuffled around a bit. You're still going to have to get some dust for your recombinators, but hopefully this ends up being better, because now this basically says, do you want to make currency out of Kingsmarch? Well, now you would have to actually farm ore, and then ore now has a use. Whereas before it didn't really feel like it had much of a use. It's kind of more niche. Also, side note, they now made it so tattoos are more specific. So instead of getting random tattoos, I think you can like send to a specific port for like red tattoos or green tattoos, etc. New currency item to juice regions of your Atlas. The Atlas is split into 4 regions, and it's called the Astrolabe. That's kind of an endgame currency, I think. Added the new Reliquarian Ascendancy class for Scion. Notable passive skills for Reliquarian: borrow from the powers of unique items found throughout Ray class, and this will change with each league. That's kind of cool. It's almost like an event class within itself. For this reason, these notables will not be obtainable as outcomes for the Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh unique jewels. Potential new Bloodline Ascendancy. They tease it in the trailer, which is cool because Bloodlines are core. New catalyst for suffixes or prefixes that boosts all suffixes and or prefixes and not one type. Previously, you'd use like, you know, elemental catalyst, like, you know, prismatic for res or fertile catalyst for life. But now there's a more niche one, which I think is going to be extremely strong on endgame equipment like, you know, helical rings, etc. New coins of power allow you to add a level 1 support but corrupt your main skill. Example, you have a level 20/20 Righteous Fire, right? You don't really care about Righteous Fire being 21. It doesn't really do much unless you're hitting a breakpoint of, you know, with different plus level. Vol RF is cool, but not everyone wants that. Also, side note, this fucking skill looks sick. I want to play this build. All right, so now, for example, you could get lucky, use a coin of power, and hit level 1 increased area of effect, and now you have a 7-link RF. Or vice versa, which I'm hoping would be a better outcome, is something like you get the new greater AoE, assuming it's a thing, right? And then you get level 1 efficacy and you get to use greater AoE. So kind of cool, pretty excited to see. New currency to reroll Delirium Cluster Jewel, but keep your current mods. So you can fracture a specific mod and then turn it into a different cluster to get another notable. This is really cool on builds, for example, I'll actually say it, like Righteous Fire. Now, before we talk about this, just know this is stupid expensive because you need fracturing orbs. Who knows the price on that? Then you need to actually get the desired mod. Then you need to fracture the desired mod. Then you need the new currency to change it to something else. Then you have to roll that, which hopefully shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, so the point of this was like, say you're playing a build that uses Fire Trap, but you're not actually a trapper, but you do use Fire Trap. But you don't want to sacrifice an entire cluster jewel for one trap node when all the other things are not really benefiting your RF. Well, now you could, for example, get a, you know, a trap and mind damage, what is it, a 4 passive trap and mind damage cluster. Specifically look for a notable you want, like one that grants you Arcane Surge when you throw a trap. I think that's one. You could fracture it, then you could re-roll it into like a burning damage medium cluster and get Flow of Life, right? So prime example, I think that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. New Fractured Betrayal mods. There's a node on the tree now, so you can unveil, and you have a chance of picking, I think, from 3 Fractured mods, which sounds really good. Fossils are now only found in Delve. They're not found in other places. I am a little scared about this because I love playing SSF, and I don't want to delve in SSF. However, I only don't want to delve because it felt like there wasn't much of a reason to delve when I could get fossils from other locations. If the fossils in delve have been massively increased, I think I'd be okay with that, and I think I'm okay with stuff like that. And the last one that I'm aware of is they added a lot of new rune graphs, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, that already ran the video 13 minutes, so that is going to be about it. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you are as excited as me because I'm super excited. I also completely forgot. There's a whole entire new theme of skills called Holy Skills. That's another one. Holy Skills are coming out. And you know what? New Transfigured Gems. Maybe we should just watch the trailer together. The other thing to talk about, a little speculation. I'm actually very excited for the Holy Skills that are coming out because I think this means we're one step closer to getting RF in Path of Exile 2. And I think it's potentially grounds for testing a holy theme for when they make the Templar, who's gonna have Righteous Fire. Anyway, catch you guys all later. Thanks for watching. We're gonna be live in just a few minutes from this video, so if you want to stop in and say hello, feel free to. We're also gonna be live every day at, I think, 9-10 o'clock Central, probably 10 o'clock Central, and we'll be streaming on Sunday specifically for this new league. Hope to catch you guys all later. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.